Let's have a lesson on this Allegretto in C by Carcassi. Follow the lesson for free, but if you're interested, you can also pick up the free sheet music. There's a link for that in the description. It's a free PDF, and you can just download it. There's no sign up required, so you can follow along with the lesson. This comes from Carcassi's Op.59 method book, but it's also part of a collection of relatively easy works that I'm putting together as a supplement to my Volume 1 and Volume 2 method book. Some extra pieces for people to work on to either get more comfortable with the techniques or just for enjoyment. So like I said, go grab that PDF sheet music. So a couple of things to discuss in this piece. We'll talk about the tempo that you choose. We'll talk about some right hand fingering concepts, and then we'll do a walkthrough of the piece and talk about some musical ideas that you can apply to this piece as well, and musical balance issues. So in regards to the tempo, your tempo is probably going to be decided by those 16th notes. You want them to be relatively relaxed, and just to glide through them very easily. They're in small bursts, so it's a good exercise for keeping your relaxation, not tensing up. What you'll find is at measure 9, you'll kind of want that to be quite, have some movement to it. So that's going to encourage you to play those 16th notes pretty fast, because if you play this at this tempo, then those 16th notes have to be a little bit quick. So, but you'll have to find a compromise. You don't want to play faster than you can play well. So whatever speed you can play those 16th notes in a relaxed fashion, but scooping through them nicely, will probably be your tempo. But nevertheless, that section at measure 9 will probably encourage you to raise that tempo, but not get frantic with the music. You want it to all sound very natural and relaxed for the most part. So it's a good little etude for discovering a compromised balance as to what tempo you might want to take. Of course, intermediate and advanced students can probably take it much faster. If they want it to be like this, then they can play those fast. But method book level students, so early intermediate or late beginner, they're probably going to going a little bit slower, and that's okay. You can just add lots of musical ideas, as we will discuss. You replace the tempo with just more musicality and make it work. So in terms of the right hand fingering, I've marked all the important fingering on the page. For the most part, we're playing those melodic passages with just M and I alternation. And then the arpeggios, we're using P, I, M, I, A, which is great. Small bursts of speed using all of these fingers, so it's a really good workout for the right hand and a good little etude for students. The only other thing is that there's a couple of spots where you just want to pay attention. Measure 4, for example. A, M, I, M, I, M. Using the occasional A finger to make sure I am alternation can occur afterwards. Another good example would be in measure 12. You're going along using M and I, A, so that I and M can play those next dyads there. So M, I, M, A, I and M. So just, making sure that you have a focus and attention on just a couple of those fingerings. And I've marked them in the page so you'll notice them, but they can sometimes catch students off guard, so you just want to make sure that you catch those. Besides that, not much to discuss. The left hand fingering is very straightforward. Right hand fingering is for the most part straightforward, but a couple of attention spots. In terms of the musicality of the piece, I have included Carcassi's original dynamic markings, but to some extent I ignore them. I think the first section he marks piano, and that's nice. You can keep it kind of reserved in its dynamic level. Especially to glide through these arpeggios that shouldn't be stressful or loud, in that regard. In this next section, he marks the section as forte, but I think you can do a little bit of growth in this section. So starting off a little softer, but crescendoing all the way to here. Then relax. And then piano again, like he says. He marks forte here. I find that a little bit weird. I really just view the piece as A, B, A in its form. So adding the forte in the last two measures could be dramatic. I generally just kind of play through the section. And then relax. I find that it seems a little random to throw that forte in at the end. Maybe he thought it was a little dramatic for the final cadence. But I kind of ignore it to some extent. But I think in that second section, just a little bit of growth to the line helps it, especially at slower tempos, it helps it have more momentum that way and really takes the music somewhere rather than playing it just like forte. I think that's about it. None of the shapes are particularly difficult, so you can pretty much just go ahead and give it a try. Just a couple of things that you just, really want to focus in on and pay attention to, but I don't think you'll find it particularly difficult. So, a little bit of experience with my Volume 2 method book, going through maybe the first C major section at least. Or if you want to wait and just play it after the method book, that's fine. But it's a nice little piece that gives you some practice in various areas.